A reading from St. Luke's Gospel. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And the son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and I am no more worthy to be called thy son. But the father said to his servants, Bring forth the best robe, and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand, and shoes on his feet, and bring hither the fatted calf, and kill it. And let us eat and be merry, for this my son was dead, and is alive again. He was lost, and is found. And they began to be merry. I don't know about you, but I just love Jesus' parables. They are without doubt to me the best way that God talks to me, through the words and through the stories of Jesus' son. These stories really don't need much explanation. They are layers and layers of truth that are set out in a way that we can just understand them. There's often, when you read them for the first time, if indeed you can remember that, there's a eureka moment when you suddenly realise what the truth is. I was blessed to be an army chaplain for 20 years, and one of the jobs I had in the army was to be the chaplain at the Army Training Regiment at Winchester. Soldiers on their first Sunday are almost compelled to come to church. And so you have congregations of 300 or 400 people who've never ever been in the building before, never mind heard the Bible, they don't even know the Lord's Prayer. And many people wring their hands and say, oh, what a terrible state we've got ourselves into. But the wonder is to see them hear the words of Jesus for the first time. When the words of this parable hit them straight between the eyes, it needs no interpretation from the likes of me or anybody else. It is a story. And of course, this story, the story of the prodigal son, has within it many, many bits and layers and depths. And I'm sure you've heard clergy like me go on at length about them. This particular bit of that parable is about the return to the Father. The pure joy in the Father's words, actions, and I can imagine his face. I can imagine the tears rolling down them as he opens his arms to greet his son. There are parallels at the moment, certainly. I'm stuck in this place, which is very beautiful and I love it to bits, but I'm separated from my children and my grandchildren. I yearn to hug them, to embrace them, to have a meal with them. And so in some small way at the moment, I can almost imagine what God feels for those of us that are far distant from him. Loneliness is the biggest cause of anxiety. It's the biggest cause of depression. It's the biggest cause of suicide. It is a terrible thing to be separated from loved ones. And of course, God is separated from all of those who do not greet him. And I suppose the other thing, we live in a world where it's not like going back to your father because you didn't know him in the first place. It's a brand new greeting. And in this season of a kingdom come, where we are encouraged to pray for 5 others and to make some sort of commitment to sharing our faith with others, maybe we have to remember that they've never known the Father. They're not coming back to anything. This is something brand new. And it's amazing. And we should know in our hearts how to share it. And this story gives us some sort of the essence of how to do that. The Father throws his arms open to us, and all we have to do is to accept this almost unbelievable love that comes through him. Amen.